Nimenyang'anya dakika moja.
Okay, thank you. Senator Nyutu. Senators, there is a lot of interest in this motion. Because we cannot change the time, the time that every senator should take, unless if senators contributing can be magnanimous enough to to save some few minutes to your colleagues. Thank you. Proceed.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I think I'm going to do exactly that. I'm going to take the shortest time possible. Let me take this opportunity also to make a few contributions and observations about this speech that His Excellency the President made on the 29th of September this year. And I think I want to start by lauding him for appreciating Kenyans for electing more women than they had done in the previous election of 2017. I think another thing that I really got impressed about with this speech was his commitment that he is going to work for everyone, all wards, all constituencies, in all counties in the Republic, and that is in numbers or paragraph number 14 and number 15. This, Mr. Speaker, you know that this country has been divided normally maybe down the middle, depending on the results of maybe the elections. When the President committed himself that he was going to serve everybody from every corner of this country, I thought that that was the first step in the building of nationalism. I also want to underline and underscore the President's commitment in paragraph number 16 that he is committed and he is open to, his administration will be open to oversight from this House and the National Assembly. This shows a president and an administration that is sure of itself, an administration that knows that it is going to perform. And that is why he welcomed and actually encouraged the two houses to oversight his government. And this is because, as he said, that everybody should see the public get, to quote him, get value for every cent invested. And I think, Mr. Speaker, listening to the President on paragraph number 16, I was very much okay and assured that our country is now going to witness better days than before. Mr. Speaker, the idea, though it has been fought by naysayers, the idea of encouraging Parliament, that is this and National Assembly, to come up with a mechanism where cabinet secretaries may be coming to the House to answer questions from members relating to things happening in the counties, because we are all here representing counties, is another very welcome move, Mr. Speaker. I know there are those that have said that even without any new mechanism, that cabinet secretaries can still be summoned here. But I think to avoid, many maybe complications and disagreements, I think if you can be able to come up with, the kind of mechanism that the President encouraged and proposed in his speech, I think this would be very good, so that, Mr. Speaker, we can get these answers from the CSs directly, and so that we can bring the issues affecting our people in our different counties, we can be able to raise those issues and we get direct answers from the cabinet secretaries. Mr. Speaker, again, the President's commitment to arrest corruption by empowering the judiciary is something that should not go, uncommented about. That, Mr. Speaker, this country, as those that have stood here before me have said, and as all of us know, is that this country has had very many problems, not because we do not generate sometimes good revenue, but mostly because there is a hemorrhage of public resources through corruption. And Mr. Speaker, hearing the President commit to empowering the judiciary by even allocating more funds so that the judiciary can be able to expand its ability and maybe deal with these cases as and when they come, in order for the judiciary to deliver justice in a timely way, Mr. Speaker, that is a step towards the right direction in even development of this country. Because if we are able to arrest the hemorrhage that has been happening to public resources, Mr. Speaker, this country will be better off and our people will enjoy the services that government can offer in a much bigger way. Mr. Speaker, I also want to talk about paragraph number 21, where the President suggested that his administration will actually scale up production by stopping subsidizing consumption, but in its place subsidize production. Because that is what we need, Mr. Speaker. And although those that have spoken before me, some of them would want to have the cost of living arrested immediately and served maybe as a cup of coffee, instant coffee. But, Mr. Speaker, some things need some time to sort out. We do not want, Mr. Speaker, to have, temporary solutions. If we can get solutions that are lasting, that can be effective in the long term, Mr. Speaker, and that is why production, subsidizing production is more important than subsidizing consumption. Mr. Speaker, we want permanent solutions. We do not want temporary solutions, Mr. Speaker. And so I want to laud the President for that particular economic step that he made, because we know that for every success, and all the members here will agree with me.
Just a minute, Senator Newton. What is it, Senator Okech? What is out of order?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I raise a point of order on misinformation.
Point of order, I'm asking which point of order? Quote the point of order you are referring to. Because we made some housekeeping at some point.
121, where, and also in line also with the Article 160 of the Constitution. The Speaker of the floor has just informed us here that...
Which article of the Constitution?
160, which establishes the independence of the judiciary.
No, sorry. You are quoting the long-standing order. 121 is disorderly conduct.
I'm quoting the Constitution on 120, 160.
You have said standing order 121 in line with the article, which I wanted to get proper. In line with the article. Which is standing order, I'm asking. Senator.
Okay. The Speaker is misinforming us. Senator Newtu is misinforming us against the article of the Constitution 160.
116?
160.
Okay, proceed.
Yeah, 160 says that in the exercise of judicial authority, the judiciary, as constituted by the Article 161, shall be subject only to the Constitution and the law, and shall not be subject to the control or direction of any person or any authority. Is it right to form a trend whereby the Senator Nyutu is talking here that the president has power to actually interfere with that independence of the judiciary?
Senator Nyutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I really do not think that I said that the president, I did not impute that the president is interfering in the powers or the independence of the judiciary. If Senator Eddy heard me well, I talked about more allocations to the judiciary, to empower the judiciary more. So it was about the allocation, Mr. Speaker. It was not about, interfering with the powers of the judiciary. It's more allocation, and I think that is what the president talked about.
Senator,
and I think if you
Senator
go
to so that we can indeed be on the right footing, I want to refer Senator Ende to Article 173, which establishes the Judiciary Fund. Article 173 of the Constitution. Proceed, Senator Nyutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I was going to refer to him. I was going to tell him to ask him to go to paragraph 18 and 19 of the President's speech, but thank you, Mr. Speaker, because you have come to my aid. And I think I'm going to proceed. And I was talking about before Senator Eddy rose on a point of order, talking about subsidizing consumption in the place of production. And I think, Mr. Speaker, I had pronounced myself clearly about that particular point that the President made. And Mr. Speaker, if you allow me, I think the other thing that got me almost excited about the President's speech was paragraphs 25 and 26, Mr. Speaker, where the President talked about empowering hustlers, Mr. Speaker, and particularly this of decriminalizing enterprise, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I was elected by the people of Murang'a to be their senator. And it is common knowledge, and everybody who comes to Nairobi knows that most of the hawkers in Nairobi, most of the hawkers in most of these towns around here, Mr. Speaker, come from Murang'a. And Mr. Speaker, when the President talked about decriminalizing enterprise, because we know that hawkers have been facing it very rough, Mr. Speaker, from county askaris everywhere. And these are people who are innocent, people just eking a living out of maybe hawking and those small businesses. Mr. Speaker, I think as a person that is elected by the people of Murang'a, hustlers, people who do their small businesses, hardworking people, if I kept quiet, Mr. Speaker, and stopped or forgot to thank the President for committing that he's going to decriminalize enterprise, Mr. Speaker, I think I would be doing a great disservice to the people of Murang'a that elected me to come to this House. I can see, Mr. Speaker, the Senator from Nairobi.
Okay, let us first get from Senator Nyutu whether he is ready to be informed by the Senator for Nairobi City.
Well, maybe he can inform me, Mr. Speaker, as long as his information will be factual.
Senator Sifuna, yes, proceed.
I just want to inform my colleague that, in fact, the hustler government that you put in place in Nairobi is, as we speak, evicting those hawkers you're speaking about from the CBD. And I want you to join me, because we all have to fight for those hustlers, to make sure that the county government of Nairobi does not remove those hustlers from the streets.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much.
Senator Nyutu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I'm glad that even the Senator of Nairobi, Senator Edwin Sifuna, appreciates the contribution, but that hawkers make, and for once, Mr. Speaker, I think I want to thank The Senator of Nairobi. Thank you very much for that information, Senator. And we are happy as people from Murang'a and other areas that our people will be allowed to do their businesses without harassment by county askaris, because these are innocent people that eke out a living out of, these small businesses, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, housing is another project that the President talked about in his speech. This housing, Mr. Speaker, and it is going to be in every other county, in major towns, Mr. Speaker. We know, as we stand here, as we sit here, that most of our people live in houses where they do not have access, maybe to toilets and, to clean water and sanitation, Mr. Speaker. The President has committed, as he indicated in his speech on paragraph 29 and 30, that this administration is going to engage in massive infrastructural development of housing where people will be able to get a lot of jobs. Mr. Speaker, masons, electricians, plumbers, people who deal in steel, those who deal in stones, sand, ballast, name it, Mr. Speaker, are going to get jobs. And this will be one way in which we are going to arrest joblessness in this country. And Mr. Speaker, that is something that was very encouraging to hear the President committing to. Mr. Speaker, there are issues of water on paragraph 1, and we know that, Mr. Speaker, most people, and I don't know, Mr. Speaker, whether through you, the Senator of Nairobi, knows of any plans. Because, Mr. Speaker, as people from Murang'a, where Nairobi sources its water, from Dakaine Dam, we are saying, and Mr. Speaker, we are going to bring the necessary motions or bills here so that our people in Murang'a do not give Nairobi water for free, where they come and sell it, leaving our people in Murang'a without water, Mr. Speaker. And so, Mr. Speaker, when I heard the President talk about public-private partnership, we, as people from Murang'a, were very happy about that. In the meantime, we'll be seeking that the county of Nairobi pays some rent to the county government of Murang'a in order for us to be able to build some infrastructure for our people as far as water is concerned. Mr. Speaker, there is that health, and my time is almost up. I can see the warning sign. Mr. Speaker, health, universal health care. Our people, Mr. Speaker, are getting impoverished every time a sickness visits a home. Mr. Speaker, universal health care is going to sort out our people so that our people do not use their much needed savings to meet health challenges, health bills, Mr. Speaker, and that is something that is very encouraging. Mr. Speaker, I'm also very excited about the President committing that the government should not borrow to finance recurrent expenditure, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, only a fool, Mr. Speaker, lives beyond their means. And Mr. Speaker, I think this is very encouraging that going forward, this administration of His Excellency the President William Samoei Ruto is going to encourage savings and is going to discourage borrowing to finance a recurrent expenditure, Mr. Speaker, so that our people can be able to save more and have better services. Mr. Speaker, as I sit down, I want to laud the President for suggesting that we should change Kenya Revenue Authority to be Kenya Revenue Service. Because, Mr. Speaker, many people have closed their businesses. Not because, Mr. Speaker, they do not pay tax.
His
and
time
if
is ending. Yes, Senator Newto's time is almost over, but there is another point of information again.
Okay.
From,
Governor Senator Mandao.
Yes.